Have you ever had that experience with your child? You have a child that flirts with the darkness, or maybe you did yourself at some point. Flirts. I'm not talking about the dark side, which is a different kind of context. I'm talking about the darkness that is of not knowing, of wondering, of that experience that lies deep in our soul. And so how could she know that in 8 years that she would have 2 more grandkids and that I would be in Seattle, just a short distance from where they lived? She couldn't know that. And so all she could know was what she was seeing in front of her, and that's often all we can know is what is in front of us, and we know that that's a moment, an experience, an opportunity of transformation, a dark night of the soul. Thomas More says that if we are to have the depth and soul, we need some relationship to this underworld, or at least a sense of being partly at home there. He says that the Persephone myth informs us that sometimes one discovers soul in the underworld against one's will. Certain attractive things in the world may act as lures, setting us up for a challenging fall into the depths of ourself. We don't teach that very well in the context of our movement. We don't really talk about it much in the context of our movement. We like to talk about the positive things of life, but the truth is, this is a positive part of our life experience. We just don't recognize it in that reality. That we understand that when we are in that difficult time in our life, that's the moment of our greatest opportunity for spiritual transformation. That's the moment when we can lift above and move forward in our experience of unfoldment as spiritual human beings. You know, Persephone, when she was captured, her mother Demeter thought she had lost her. And she was able to find her way to the underworld, and she was able to negotiate with Hades that she would only spend a third of the time in the underworld and the rest of the time above. And think about that in the context of our life. If we have to spend some time in the depths of our soul exploring who it is that we are and what's in our consciousness, and that's where our creativity comes. You see, a seed goes into the ground, into the darkness, before it germinates and grows up into the light. And we too are spiritual seeds that must journey into the darkness if we are to grow up into the light and be what it is that we have come here to be. And so we must be willing to step through those moments and walk through them consciously and openly, knowing that no matter how frustrated we are, no matter how painful it is, no matter how difficult it is, no matter how challenging it is, that's where we are. Because the next moment is going to be that moment of transformation. That's the way it is. I can't tell you what's going to happen, but I can tell you that it will happen if you open yourself to it. If you say, okay, God, I don't know, but I'm here. And I'm willing to walk through this experience to the other side, whatever it takes. I'm willing to go on this hero's spiritual journey, because that's what it's about. And I'm willing to stop and say that, this is good. This is where my good is going to come. This is where my potential is going to be realized. This is where I'm going to really feel the presence of God, even though in this moment that feels vacant and empty, all I know is that there's room now for a greater good in my consciousness. And so that's the step. That's the process we enter into. And could it be that to bring beauty into the world, we must have our dark nights in the underworld of our consciousness? But you say that's not unity, and I say it is where our teachings find their richness and meaning. Because it is not what happens to us and through us, it is about us finding the good in whatever it is that shows up in our life experience. I want to close with my poem that I call The Darkness. Captured by a moment, the unknown beckons, with beauty outside its gates behind which darkness lurks. We don't choose this path, it captures us when we get too close. Reaching out from the dark with invisible tentacles, pulled into the unknown, there is no exit, no going back, we can only go deeper. It can be painful. Fear often rules. Moments of aloneness, lost, hoping to be found. It is moist and dark. Fears being faced, faith being tested, time seems to stop. Has God abandoned me to the dark side, or am I being tested in this shapeless void? I know there is light somewhere. Keep moving and it will appear. An idea that God is here, for isn't God everywhere? The path unfolds before me, a light comes into view, and hope does come at last. It is good. It is God. God bless you.